It's been a while since I've had an opportunity to teach, and given the current circumstances, I'm really glad that I've got this opportunity to still have a means to reach people and share the techniques of yoga and meditation, which can be really beneficial, especially during the times that we're going through at the moment. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to start making these videos again, not only to make sure I didn't lose my teaching skills, but also to show that even going through tough times, that these practices can bring great benefits to ourselves. And that's perfectly highlighted by the fact that I'm sitting in this chair today, not sitting on the floor in a normal seated yoga position that we might be used to, but sitting in this chair to deal with my knee, because I tore the right meniscus, bucket handle tear of the right meniscus about 8 weeks ago. So I'm 5 weeks out from surgery and just getting back into the rehab phases of things now, but not using that as an excuse to let my practice slip, and certainly not using it as an excuse to still teach people. So that being said, today we're going to look at a really amazing technique known as Kirtan Kriya, which is quite profound in the way that we just do these simple motions of cycling through the fingers. And if anybody wants to have a bit more of a deeper understanding about the science behind that technique, definitely go and check the video out prior to this one, because I went into the fundamentals of how we're stimulating parts of the brain, specifically the motor cortex. But right now, for the purpose of this lesson, we need to focus on the experience of the technique. So we can sit around and talk about the fundamentals and the science and what it's doing to the nervous system. But the main thing always with the practices of yoga and meditation is what it brings to our awareness. So with that in mind, that's where I want us to set our intention for the purpose of this class. So just now bringing yourself into that intention of having an experience. This is what yoga and meditation teaches us. It teaches us these experiences about ourselves. So just bring that into your frame work of thinking at the moment, that we're about to have an experience and we're about to share this technique with each other. And we're just going to start off like we would with any other Kundalini yoga class. We'll start by finding a nice, comfortable seated position. So whether you're choosing to sit in a chair like I am, maybe you're not used, maybe this is your first time doing one of these lessons, totally fine to sit in a chair, have the feet just flat on the ground, just resting the hands on the knees for now. But for anybody who's a little bit more familiar with the practice, you'll take a seated position with the legs crossed. I'll insert a frame of what that position looks like for anybody else who might want to see it. But beyond that, just find that nice position now. Lengthen through the spine. Close the eyes. Take the left hand. Place the left hand in the lap, palm facing up. Place the right palm on top of it, palm facing up, and connect the thumb tips. And lengthen through the spine and just start to become aware of your natural flow of breath. So be aware of the breathing, but not controlling the breath yet. Just a moment to just check in with ourselves to see how we're feeling at this point in time. Just the natural flow of breath. Really pay attention to the inflow of air and the exhale. Inhale, exhale. You might notice that subtle temperature difference. As the inhale comes in, it's slightly cooler. As the exhale goes out, slightly warmer. Just relax the shoulders, relax the muscles of the face. Just breathing with awareness, natural flow of breathing, not controlling it, just relaxing the body and starting to bring that awareness internal. So just be aware of the fluctuations of the mind. Don't try to stop the behavior of the mind. Just be aware of whatever chatter's going on. Be aware of the emotional output of the body. So you might feel those certain vibrations in parts of the body, a certain nervous feeling maybe in the stomach, or some butterfly type feeling in the stomach. Maybe there's a little bit of tension in the chest, a slight lump in the throat, or a little bit of a heaviness to the head. Whatever might be there of those physical distortions of the body, just start to become aware of those and start to notice that in that same sphere of awareness where you might be feeling physical distortions, physical vibrations, physical fluctuations, in that same space the mental fluctuations are happening too. So where your physical experience is, as well as your mental experience, that's all contained within the same space. and just start to bring your awareness into that space. Again, not trying to stop anything. We're not trying to control anything yet. We're not trying to judge anything. And that's a really important aspect to the practice. Just as we go through the technique today and we do some gentle breathing exercises, a short warm-up, and then we get into this main technique of Kirtan Kriya, which we discussed in the last video. As we progress towards that, just whatever experiences come up, we try to approach them with a neutral state of awareness. So just setting that intention now to just let whatever happens happen throughout the experience, and always try to leave the judgment of it until the end of the class. So the best way to deal with this stuff is at the end of it, just see what it brought to you, what experience did it bring. Really start to set that intention now. Staying with the eyes closed, now we're going to take control of the breath. So consciously start to inhale deeper and exhale evenly as well. So as you inhale more, make sure the exhale's nice and even. If you need to, count the inhale. Just start to count it. Try to match it with the beat of your heart, or a count per second. So just inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, finding your own count, but keeping the inhale and exhale in a nice stable rhythm. And as you exhale, draw the navel point in towards the spine. And then as you inhale, consciously expand the navel point out. Exhale, consciously contract the navel point back towards the spine. So inhaling, navel points expanding. Exhale, navel points contracting back towards the spine consciously. And feel that connection between the navel point and the nostrils and everything in between. Keep the spine nice and lengthened. Slightly draw the chin in back towards the chest, creating a lock in the back of the neck, but without tilting the head down. So just locking the back of the neck, feeling a slight lock to help elongate the spine, keeping the spine nice and tall so we've got room for the body to move, because now we want to bring the full range of yogic breathing in. So now as we inhale, bring the air up consciously through the diaphragm. Use the diaphragm to expand and open the base of the lungs and the ribs, and then draw the air all the way up to the tops of the shoulders, coming up to full expansion of the lungs, full capacity, but not forcing anything. So not trying to force the body. And then as we exhale, we'll just allow the shoulders and the lungs and the ribs to naturally deflate back down. And then as we get back down towards the diaphragm, consciously draw the navel point back in towards the spine. So inhale, navel points expanding, drawing the air all the way up through the diaphragm, using the diaphragm to open up the base of the lungs and draw the air all the way up into the top of the shoulders. Exhale, naturally deflating back down, allowing the body to just come back into its deflated position, drawing the navel point back towards the spine. Eyes closed, shoulders relaxed, muscles in the face relaxed. Focus on the breath. Keep counting the breath if you need to. Keep the inhale and exhale consistent, and just drop into that breath, still allowing the mind to do what it needs to do. If you catch yourself drifting too far off away from the experience, the moment that we're in now, use the breath to guide yourself back into that sense of experience. Just really paying attention and focus to that control of breath, and seeing that in the sense that you control the breath, you experience the breath as well. So you're using that command and experience at the same time, noticing that there's those two parts of yourself, the part that commands and the part that experiences as well. So just deepening into the breath, lengthening into the breath. And then just staying with that nice flow of breath, bring the hands together, rub the hands together. So connect the palms together, keep them at about chest height, mid-chest height. Really create some heat and friction in the hands, keeping the eyes closed. Keeping with that nice flow of breath, still expanding the body on the inhale, contracting on the exhale. Press the thumbs into the sternum, lengthen through the spine again, crown of the head pushed towards the roof. And just start to deepen into that intention. Start to give that time back to yourself, realizing that this is really valuable time. This is a moment to give something back to yourself. So just allowing yourself to be in that state of awareness, staying with the breath, still inhaling consciously, exhaling consciously, expanding on the inhale, contracting on the exhale, and just keeping with that long deep breath, setting the intention, deepening in, and just as the music starts to play in the background and starts to come in, we're going to use the mantra Om Namo Gurudev Namo, which means I bow to the infinite wisdom within. So a way of acknowledging that we learn through our experiences, that we have to understand ourselves through our experiences of life. So just acknowledging that, and that's all we're trying to do in this lesson, is to just have an experience and see what comes of it. So just as the music plays, just take the next minute or so to allow yourself to drop into those sounds. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I bow to the infinite wisdom within. Staying with that nice long deep breath, nice tall spine, consciously breathing. And then on your next exhale, staying with that conscious flow of breath, come to the bottom of the breath, make sure the navel point's drawn in all the way back towards the spine, lock the air out of the body. So navel points fully drawn in, fully engaged, holding the breath out of the body, lock the air out of the body, draw that navel point in, keep the hands at the heart center. Then inhale deep, fully expand the body, inhale deep. Hold the breath and create a contraction at the base of the spine, so drawing in the muscles of the rectum, the reproductive organ, and the navel point. So those lower three muscle groups of the body, draw them all in, almost like you're trying to prevent yourself from going to the toilet. Hold that lock, really draw them in. We call this technique root lock. So just holding that lock in tightly, then keeping the hands there, exhale powerfully through the mouth, all the way down to the bottom of the breath again. Navel points engaged. Inhale deep through the nose up to the top of the breath. Bring the air all the way up into the shoulders again. Holding the breath, creating that contraction at the base of the spine, that root lock, drawing those pelvic floor muscles in, anus, reproductive organ, navel point, all drawing in towards each other. Hold it, squeeze that lock at the base of the spine a little bit more. Take another sip of air. Squeeze the lock a little bit tighter, start to put a bit of pressure through the hands. Exhale powerfully through the mouth. Last time, inhale nice and deep. Hold the breath, engage the root lock, draw in those lower pelvic floor muscles, really draw them in together like you're trying to bring all 3 points towards one another. Sit up nice and tall through the spine, feel that contraction at the back of the neck. Take one more sip of air. Feel all of that energy from the base of the spine coming all the way up through the spine, up through the neck, up to the crown of the head. Press the hands together, one more sip of air. Engage the root lock tighter. Now press the hands together firmly, as firm as you can. The whole body should be contracted. And then gently exhaling through the nose, allowing the hands to come down onto the knees, palms facing up, keeping the eyes closed, and just coming back to that natural flow of breath, that natural state of awareness on the breath, allowing the body to settle. Just coming back to your breath, natural state of breath, nice and relaxed, shoulders relaxed, spine stays nice and tall. Natural flow of breath for a moment, just allowing it to settle before we get into some short warm-up exercises, and then we'll be moving into Kirtan Kriya. Very, very gentle yet powerful technique, but just for a moment, just natural flow of breath. If you need to open your eyes for a point of reference to reference towards what I'm doing throughout the practice, that's totally fine and recommended. But if you're familiar with the practice, try keep with the eyes closed. Turn the palms over onto holding the knees. So just coming back to the breath again now, taking control of the breath, feeling the body expand and contract. And then just on your exhale, round the spine down. Inhale, drive the chest forward using the entire length of the spine, keeping the head nice and still. So not tilting the head as we rock the spine, keeping that lock, that slight lock in the back of the neck, chin slightly drawn in towards the chest. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. I'll insert a side-on view so you can see it for anybody that's new. Just trying to find that full range of motion of the spine, rocking from the hips, driving the spine forward, really opening the chest up on the inhale. Exhale, rocking down. Inhale, driving the spine up. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And for anybody who's familiar with the technique, you might be taking a little bit more of a faster movement. But for anybody new, just explore your range of motion. Inhale forward, exhale back, inhale forward, exhale back. And if you feel any tension in the spine or anything that feels out of place, or if there's just anything that's feeling tight, breathe into it and consciously exhale, let it go. Exhale down, inhale up. Just rocking back and forth. And now that you've found your range of motion, go a little bit deeper. Try to find a little bit more range of motion, a little bit more depth and connection to the breath, and be very conscious of where things might be feeling out of place, and just consciously releasing any tension from the body. Let's go for another 30 seconds or so. We're just going to do some gentle warm-up exercise before we get into the main technique. So just using this time to just get the energy flowing and open in the body. If you're new to the practice, we might be using some techniques that are not familiar, but it's a good opportunity to just delve into them, just to see how the body's working mechanically. Last few rounds, breathing with the entire spine. And on your next exhale, exhale all of the air out of the body, stay rounded down. Then inhale up nice and deep, sitting up nice and tall. Holding the breath, engaging that root lock again, so engaging a lock at the base of the spine. And then keeping the spine nice and tall, just release the lock. Allow the breath to naturally leave the body deflate, but keep the spine nice and tall. Just natural flow of breath for a moment, allowing the energy to settle and just breathe back into that natural flow of awareness. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the muscles in the face, keeping that slight lock in the back of the neck engaged, lengthening through the spine. And then just gently bringing the hands up onto the shoulders. The forefingers will be sitting in the front of the shoulders, the thumbs in the back, and lengthening through the spine. Nice tall spine again. This time we'll inhale, twist the entire spine left. Exhale, twist the entire spine right. The head moves with the spine. Inhale left, exhale right. No stopping in the middle. It's a smooth transition from inhale left, exhale right. Again, if you're new to the practice, just find your own pace and rhythm. Really work with the breath. Make sure the breath and the movement feel quite harmonized together. But if you're familiar with the practice, it might be a bit more dynamic. Inhaling left, exhaling right. Just wherever you are, find your range of motion at this point in time. Work with it, breathe into the motion, slowly opening the body up, trying to find your range of motion. Just each time you go to the left and to the right, use the breath to go a little bit more and just open the body up slightly. So not forcing anything at any point in time in terms of wanting to, test the body of whether it can be injured or not. Just finding that range of motion and making sure that we go a little bit beyond what's that comfortable point. We just want to initiate a little bit of change in the body by just making it go beyond its normal range of motion. But again, finding that point of not doing any damage to the body, and everybody has to find their own range of motion through their own intuition and sensing into the mechanics of their body. So inhaling left, exhaling right. Last 30 seconds or so, you should have a good range of motion now. So maybe speed it up or just find a little bit more depth and connection to the breath in this last little bit. Inhale left, exhale right. Using these last few rounds to really just open the body up. Then inhale back to that nice tall central point. Holding the breath, engaging the root lock. So locking the base of the spine, drawing in those lower muscles of the rectum, reproductive organ, navel point. One more sip of air. Draw the elbows back towards each other, sit up nice and tall. Squeeze the base of the spine. Exhale gently through the nose, keep the spine tall, let the body naturally deflate. Bring the hands back down onto the knees, palms facing up. Relax the shoulders. Relax the muscles in the face. Keep the spine nice and tall. Keep the lock in the back of the neck. Just relax, natural flow of breath for a moment, just allowing everything to settle. Natural flow of breath, observing the breath. That's all we'll do for the main mechanical warm-ups. We'll just stimulate a little bit of energy through the arms, through the nerves of the arms and the hands, because we'll be using this technique of Kirtan Kriya, which involves cycling through the fingers by touching them to the thumb tips. But we'll just do something to just stimulate and open up the energy channels in the hands first, and get a little bit of that relationship and that connection to the different hemispheres of the brain and those motor cortex responses that we're trying to stimulate. So you can just gently open the eyes, and what we'll be doing for this is just connecting the thumb tips to the mound at the base of the pinky finger. So just pressing the thumb tip in there and then closing the hands down, fists over that pressed thumb tip point, and bringing the hands out in front and trying to engage and lock all parts of the fists, pressing into the thumb, lock the wrists, lock the forearms, lock the elbows, and drive the energy from the shoulder all the way down in the fist, and then feel that sort of counter energy of the fist coming back in, and just create like a balance point between those two parts. So the palms would be facing towards each other and the fists are just clenched, and just close the eyes and go into that long deep breathing and just hold it for a minute or so, but really create as much tension in that area of the body, in the fists, wrists, forearms, shoulders, everything very engaged. Long deep breathing, conscious breathing. Try to find a state of stillness in that rigid tension in the body. So creating that tension will ultimately create release when we come out of this position, and will allow for greater energy flow through the body. So just last little bit now, come into even engaging it even more, but stay still, stay with the breath, stay focused on what you're doing. Then keeping the arms up there, exhale fully through the nose. Inhale deep. Hold the breath, engage the root lock, and now create as much tension as you can in the whole body. Engage the root lock, tense the hands, tense the body, hold. One more sip of air, more tension. And then gently release the root lock, release the arms, gently exhaling, bringing the hands back down onto the knees, palms facing up, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the muscles in the face, natural flow of breath, just becoming aware of the breath, the change in the heart rate, the release of energy. Just relax, keeping the eyes closed, allowing the breath to settle. And then just shaking the hands out. And then bringing the hands out to the side, palms facing out. Again, arms engaged, elbows locked. And what we'll be doing is when we exhale, we'll be swinging the arms out in front of us and crossing the right hand under the left. And then that's the exhale. And then when we inhale, we bring them back out. And then we exhale, we swap the hands so the left comes over to the right. And then it's a quite dynamic movement of inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And we'll just do about a minute or so, but quite dynamic, so it looks a little bit like this. Eyes closed. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Breathing very powerfully, swapping the hands, crossing over as we come. Just find that rhythm, find that connection to the breath. Inhale, exhale. Dynamic. Really work the arms. Make it very distinct that there's that inhale point, exhale point. The arms are locked and very distinctive at those points that they're changing their range of movement. Last 30 seconds. Go a little bit deeper into it, a little bit faster. Really focus on the arms crossing over in front of each other and changing that leading hand underneath. Left, right, left, right. Inhale, exhale. Really powerful. Last few rounds. Then inhale, bring the arms out in front, 60-degree angles. Exhale, keep the hands there. Keep the hands out in front and just find your breath again. So it might be a little bit heavy, but try to control it. And the arms should be at a 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock angle. So it should be making a V shape, the heart being the base of the V, the arms out being 60-degree angles, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. The fingers are spread wide as you can spread them, and they should be like steel. And that feeling of steel should go all the way through the wrists, through the forearms, up into the shoulders, and then out. And feel that connection of pushing out from the shoulders, out into the hands, and opening the hands up, fingers as wide as possible. Long, deep breathing. So still expanding and contracting with the breath. Nice tall spine, lock still in the back of the neck, pushing the crown of the head towards the roof. Spread the fingers even wider now. Tense the thumbs, tense the hands, everything. Open the body up. Imagine that you're drawing that life force in through the breath, into that central point where that V is, into the heart center, really bringing energy into the body, energizing the body. Inhale, exhale. Hold it there just for a little bit longer. Tense the elbows. There should be a lock in the elbows, lock in the shoulders, lock in the hands, lock in the arms. Hold it there, breathing long and deep. Then on your next exhale, keep the hands there, but exhale fully. Hold the breath out briefly, keep everything engaged. Inhale nice and deep. Hold the breath, engage the root lock, and tense the whole body now. So tense the arms, tense the hands, tense the legs, engage the root lock, rectum, reproductive organ, navel point engaged in. One more sip of air. Squeeze everything, tense, tension, hold it, hold it, hold it, but hold it and be still. The body might start to shake, but you can still create a sense of stillness in that movement within. Hold, stillness, engaged, and then gently exhaling through the nose, releasing the hands down onto the knees, palms facing up, allowing that to settle. So we've done the exercises now to just create a little bit of a warm-up in the body. We've got the energy moving through the spine. We've created a little bit of release through the nervous system, through the arms, opened the chest up, created a good space to work from to really maximize the benefits of Kirtan Kriya, which we're going to go into next. But before we do that, we'll just do one more exercise to just switch those hemispheres of the brain on and just get a little bit of a feel or a bit of an experience around what these techniques that we're working with can do. So when you feel settled, just gently open the eyes again, using me as a point of reference. We'll bring the hands up, resting the elbows against the rib cage. The arms are out in front, about mid-chest height. The palms are down, and we're relaxed at the shoulders, but we're maintaining that. We're not letting the wrists be limp. We're engaging them. The fingers are slightly spread apart. And what we're going to be doing is bending the fingers at the first knuckle, starting with the pinky and then moving across to the index finger. And we're doing the left and right hands together. So we start at the pinky, cycle through, and then reset back to the pinky. So pinky, ring, middle, index. But we don't move on to the next finger until we've straightened the previous one out. So it's bend it down, move on to the next one, and really pay as much attention and try to perfectly coordinate the movement. You'll find that it's near impossible to make the fingers move in the exact same way, remembering that the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body and the left controls the right. And just tuning into that And once you start to get a feel for it, start to see how quickly you can move it, but without losing form. So make sure you don't lose the form of that symmetrical movement, or as symmetrical as you can make it. And then cycling through, but making sure we're resetting. Just switching on those parts of the motor cortex, giving us a little bit of a feel. These are the fingers that we'll be working with Kirtan Kriya. And again, just referencing back to the previous video, I'm not going to go into the full science behind Kirtan Kriya again. Go back to the previous video if you want to get a bit more of a feel, because after this technique, we'll move straight into it without too much explanation other than the technique itself. Last couple of rounds. And then just make that your last round. And then just bringing the hands back down onto the knees, palms facing up. And just keeping the eyes open. So coming into Kirtan Kriya now, we'll be using this mantra, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Again, I explain more. I won't go into the depths of the meaning of the mantra. But what we'll be doing is we'll be cycling it with our fingers, each finger touching the thumb. So we'll be using Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. So Sa on the index finger, and then cycling through middle, ring, pinky. So the opposite to what we were just doing. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And I'm going to have a musical accompaniment come over, and this will guide us through the technique, which takes about 12 minutes or so. And the first couple of minutes we vocalize with the music, the mantra Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, using that vocalized voice, human voice. And then after a couple of minutes it'll go into a whisper, but again the same technique, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Do a couple of minutes like that. And then it's about 5 minutes in silence, so mentally or vibrating the mantra at our core. So just still but moving with our fingers. And then after that we'll come back into the whisper and then back into the vocalized voice again. So the music will guide us, and I'm not going to sit here and talk over it too much. I'll sit and do the technique with you guys. So as we start to hear the music play now, just resting the palms on our knees, palms facing up, and just closing the eyes, getting ready to move those fingers. And as the mantra starts to come in, we'll just join in with it. inhale nice and deep and bring the hands up overhead, palms to touch. Hold the breath, stretch the arms up, engage the root lock at the base of the spine, drawing in the muscles of the rectum, reproductive organ, navel point. Take one more sip of air, press the hands together, stretch up. Keep the hands up, exhale powerfully through the mouth. All the way out, engage the navel point. Inhale deep. Stretch up. Hold, press the hands together, engage the root lock, hold the breath, stretch up. Exhale powerfully through the mouth. Inhale deep. Hold the breath and shake the hands. Shake the fingers, shake the whole upper body, holding the breath, shake everything around. Take one more sip of air, shake everything, and then exhale through the nose. Bring the hands down back onto the knees, palms facing up. Breathing, allowing everything to settle, just noticing any subtle changes to your awareness, any physical changes, any changes to the behavior of the mind. Just observing, coming back to a natural flow of breath. Just relaxing the body, keeping the shoulders relaxed, the muscles in the face relaxed. And just as you come back to a settled breath, gently bring the hands up at the heart center, keeping the eyes closed. Rub the hands together. We'll finish off a similar way to how we began. Just rubbing the hands together at the heart center, creating some heat and friction, then pressing the thumbs into the sternum, lengthening through the spine, keeping that slight lock in the back of the neck, crown of the head pushed up towards the roof. Just keeping a good posture and just taking a moment to acknowledge yourself, to acknowledge the work that we've just done, the experience that we've just had. Just take a moment to be and see how you may have changed from that experience. And always know that we're working with the fundamental energy of the body within the practices of Kundalini Yoga. So it might not always be an immediate effect of what might happen. Just pay attention in the rest of the day to come, or the days to come, in just how subtle changes in your awareness might occur. So just again taking a moment to acknowledge that we will have fundamentally shifted the energy of the body, and we will just see what comes of that. And just staying with the breath as we hear some more music come over, taking us out of the practice. The mantra will play over the music, Sat Nam. Sat is the vibration of truth. Nam is our identity to that truth. Sat Nam, truth is my nature. And just maintaining a nice meditative position as we tune out of the practice. Mentally vibrate those sounds with the music. And when you feel ready, just gently bring the hands down, gently open the eyes, and that concludes today's class. It's always an honor to share these teachings with people, even though we're in this revised format of how we would normally share them, but it's still great that we do have a mechanism to share these lessons with each other. So thanks for joining in. I hope you got something out of it. And really looking forward to seeing everybody again back in class, or just through these means, through these videos. I'll definitely be making more videos in the weeks to come. I think it's a great way, not only for me to keep up with my skills of teaching, but again, just to share with everybody and stay connected as a community through technology, which is amazing that we do have that option nowadays. So thanks again, and wish you all the best. Stay well. Sat Nam.